Thanks for clicking on the video. I'm Mike, the driver. Today we're taking a look at an Audi e-tron Sportback. Now, e-tron is Audi's lineup of electric vehicles, this being the sporty coupe version in that lineup. And, let's take a look to see how this car compares against Tesla and see if the almost 100 years of manufacturing experience gives Audi a leg up in that race. All right, let's go. All right, let's look at the outside of the e-tron. This is pretty much traditional Audi, from the front grille that we have there with that wide opening that is recognizable on pretty much any modern Audi. You've got the 4 rings. It says e-tron up there. These headlights, they're all LED. But the grille is fake, obviously, because there's no internal combustion engine that needs cooling. But we do have some real ducting on either side, which lets air pass through. And I think just to get around the wheel, kind of help with that efficiency. Along the sides, again, traditional Audi. And I think this is because Audi is trying to just make their electric vehicles look as normal as possible and keep it within the image of the brand, because they don't want to scare off buyers. When people look at a Tesla Model X or Model Y, those cars look pretty futuristic, and I'm not sure that a lot of people are going to be into that, especially not someone like your traditional buyer, something like an Audi or Mercedes or BMW. They're looking for that brand image, that cachet, and you kind of get that here. Now, is this going to make it a better electric vehicle than a Tesla? I don't think so, but it will bring your traditional buyers into the showroom. You've got this swooping roofline here for that Sportback look, and it's great, but you are going to lose some headroom and some luggage capacity in the back. But from appearance-wise, it's very nice, and I like this way more than the standard e-tron. So on the side here, you've got your charging port. You just push the button here, and it opens up. We've got 20-inch wheels front and back, and I really like this design. I'm not sure how efficient this design is, because normally when I see a wheel combination for an electric vehicle, there are less cutouts in it, which gives you a smaller moment of inertia, so it's easier to get the wheels rolling and stopped. And any energy you can save in that process with an electric vehicle is going to gain you mileage, right? And this design, while attractive, may not be the most efficient design that we have. You've got some monster brakes under there. This vehicle is over 5,000 pounds. I think it's actually almost 6,000 pounds, about 5,700 pounds, which is pretty incredible because dimension-wise, it's not much bigger than a Tesla Model Y. It's about 5 inches longer and 1.5 inches taller, but it's got 1,300 pounds on the Tesla. So that's going to have some impact on efficiency as well when comparing the two. But along the side, other than that, it's pretty traditional. You've got body-colored side mirrors, integrated turn signal. I like the door handle because there's a recess here to lock it. You can just put your hand inside the door to unlock. You get that same feature on the rear door as well, which is great because normally that's just something you have on the front door, but here you've got it front and back, so it's a pretty nice feature. All right, so looking at the back of the e-tron, pretty traditional. Once again, like I said, we've got this nice swoop coming back here. I like the deck lid spoiler. I think that's part of the S-Line package that this vehicle comes with. We also have these great taillights. Audi has always been really good with their design on their headlights and their taillights. And I just like how this goes all the way across to connect the two. It's very reminiscent of Porsche. Then we've got the e-tron badging as well as Quattro badging as well. On the bottom, we've got the diffuser because most electric vehicles, you have that. Aero is a big thing on these that gets you your efficiency. So you've got a nice diffuser down there. Then we open it up here. All right, we have a motorized tailgate. And even with the reduced space due to the sloping roofline, we do have plenty of room back here, and you'll be able to get, at least 2 travel bags in here with ease. Shouldn't have a problem with groceries or kid stuff. I think it's a pretty usable space back here. And then additionally, you do have some extra hidden storage space down below. So if you want to put things out of view, say you're shopping or whatever, you have some valuables that you don't want seen, you can tuck it in down there. There's also a spare tire in there. It's an interesting spare tire. It's not probably something you want to use with these 20-inch wheels. I don't think it's something you want to have on the vehicle unless you're in a real emergency situation. And you do have your blockers, so when this is down, no one can see in here. Overall, I think it's a really usable space, and no matter your family size, if your family can fit in here, this should be more than enough space to use. And when we close the liftgate, we have a button just to close the liftgate, and then we have a button which will close and lock the vehicle. Okay, so sitting inside the e-tron, I really like this space. It is a really good setup. I mean, again, I've been using this term a lot, traditional. It definitely feels like a regular car, but you do kind of have like this driver focused feel. Your center console is kind of angled towards you. It doesn't feel, on the inside, it doesn't feel very big, and that's not a slight on the vehicle at all. Everything is just kind of right where you want it, right within where you can touch it. It's slathered in screens, which, if you're a techie person, that's kind of cool. If you're not, you may not like this. I personally just don't like how all the fingerprints, and you do have haptic feedback on the screen when you touch something. It vibrates to let you know that you've touched it, which is reminiscent of a button. But honestly, I'm just not a huge fan of 0 buttons. You do have some buttons down here for starting, stopping the vehicle, your parking assist, where you've got cameras. And this has 3D camera view, so you can look at where you have a 3D view of the camera. You can scroll it around and spin it. I think that's pretty cool. Right in front of you, you've got the MMI system. Or I can't remember exactly the term that they use, but it's an entire digital dash, and you can pull your maps up here and just change the view, and that's pretty cool. Like when you're driving around and say you're not sure where you're going, you've got the GPS up, you can just have it right there, so you don't have to look to the side at it. You just kind of glance down, and then when you have that pulled up, your speed and not really your RPM, but how much you're draining the battery, that comes down and goes to the side at a smaller view. And it's really nice. It's really clever. I like how it works. Again, this is all very similar to how you would have in a regular Audi car. And I like the information they give you for the battery draw, because they'll tell you how much charge you're taking it, and also when you are charging it, so when you're braking and slowing down, it'll show you that. That's something that Tesla does, but it does it in such a way, at least in the Model Y, where I had this line that was under the speed, and if you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't know what you were looking at. So I do like that they show you that. Coming down further, again, one of those screens that's in here is your Hvac controls. I don't know why this needs to be a screen. I prefer buttons for this kind of stuff, but again, if you're into this, techie feel, you're in an electric car, it's all tech, then this is, right there for you. Just below that, you do have, and again, it's not a screen, but these aren't really buttons. You've got a drive select, and it's just kind of capacitive touch. Like you touch it and it responds. Again, you've got that haptic feedback, so you can feel when you've touched something. I like the drive mode select because you can go between comfort, dynamic, but this also has an off-road mode. When you go into that, it'll raise the vehicle up. I can't imagine a lot of people are going to be off-roading their e-tron, but if you feel the need, this can do some light off-roading, which is can be helpful. Then you've got your defrost buttons as well, and you do have a physical button for start stop, parking assist, and volume and tuning. So that I am a huge fan of, because initially when I got in the car I was like, how do I turn the volume down, because whoever had the vehicle before me left the volume quite loud. Now the shifter is weird, and granted I think Tesla's shifter is weird as well, but this shifter, I don't understand it. I don't understand why it needs to be like this. So, you know, there's this little hand rest that you think you move, you don't move that. There's a little button on here that you push in for park, and then you push up for reverse, you move back for drive. It's strange. I don't like it. They could have made this a little more intuitive. Now, I did figure it out, but initially when I started driving it, or tried to drive it, I was very confused, and I sat here and just stared at it for a minute. But once you get past that, that first time, it's fine. You'll figure it out, not an issue. And then down here, we've got quite a bit of storage space. I'm actually quite surprised with how much space they give you. You've got 2 cup holders, and then you have a space off to the side here for your phone for wireless charging, and it clips your phone in place. In this car, if you have Apple, it uses wireless Apple Carplay, and then it also has Android Auto, but that has to be wired. I'm a huge fan of the wireless Android or Apple CarPlay. This is the first time I've used it, and it worked flawlessly. There's not much lag in the system. I did notice that when I paused music, I'd hit it on the phone, it would show me that the music stopped, but the car would play for another second or two. Not a big deal, but there is some lag in that since it is wireless. And then your center console, you've got a little bit more storage here. This is quite interesting, the center console. Like, I've never really been in Audi before, but this is quite heavy and damped, and I kind of like it. You know, it's nice. It's not, I'm not gonna say it's very cushy, but you know, it gets the job done as far as like a center console should. Seats are quite nice. There's good bolstering in it. They are heated and cooled, which can be controlled by the lower screen that has your Hvac controls in it. You have this faux leather material. I mean, it's all soft touch, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of this material because it kind of marks, and hard to get the marks off, and your plastic, your faux metallic plastic and things like that. But other than that, it's not bad. You've got some LED lighting in the doors here. I haven't quite figured out what that's for, but I have seen it light up a couple of times. And then down here, you've got your contrast stitching on this panel. You have buttons here for your windows. It's one touch up and down for all the windows, not just your front windows. So I like that a lot. And you've got lock and unlock, your mirror controls, stuff like that. Then there's a button lower down here to allow you to open the lift gate. Yeah, other than that, it's like I said, it's quite nice interior. Oh, and before I forget, you have this wood inlay, and I can't remember if this is real wood or not, but you know, when I saw it in pictures and in the brochure, I was like, I don't want that. But now sitting here with it, it's not bad, and it really kind of like just blends in with the dash, and you don't really notice it. So in that regard, it's quite nice. All right, sitting in the back seat, you know, there's a lot of room back here. Again, this is about as much room as I had in the Tesla when I was in it. I will say that reduced roofline that I was expecting, given the slope here, it is somewhat reduced than you would normally have. But you know, I'm 6'4" and I have plenty of headroom here, so that's quite nice. I'm impressed by that. The seating back here, you know, similar to up front, it's pretty nice. You've got nice bolstering. These seats actually are heated and cooled in the back as well, which is amazing because that's not something that you would normally find. And you've got some vents back here on the sides, up here as well. And then you've got, you actually have digital controls to control your HVAC in the back, and it's separate per side. So that's really impressive, and I'm just surprised to see that in this vehicle. And below that, we have USB-C ports as well. And I believe these USB-C ports can communicate with the entertainment. So if you wanted to play your music or something up front for everybody, you can just hook it in back here and do that. That's really, really cool. You want to pull the seat down, you just pull it down. This comes down like this. And additionally, you've got armrest here as well. And then within the armrest, you've got a cup holder that pops out. So that's a pretty cool setup you've got. All right, overall, I think the back seat is a nice place to be in. I could definitely sit back here for, a few hours driving somewhere. I don't think I'd be uncomfortable at all. All right, let's take it for a drive. All right, so driving the e-tron, really like how this vehicle drives. I like the space, that you're in. Kind of, I said before, you do have that cockpit feel where everything's kind of tilted towards you. All the information you want is on this digital display in the MMI system. I just like how it's all presented to you. It's a good place to be in. All right, so visibility I think is pretty good. I can see everything that I need to out of my side mirrors. Rear view mirror is pretty good. Even with how the Sportback shape of this car with that swooping roof line, still have pretty good angle out of the rear view mirror. Sometimes you end up with like a lot of glass, but not much visibility. But in this, it's still upright enough to where you've got plenty of visibility. And blind spot is not much of an issue either. You do have pretty thick C-pillars because of that swooping roof line. However, they do have some cutouts in the C-pillar to allow you to see, so there's not much that's blocked. While you're on the highway, it's not going to be an issue as long as you have your mirrors set up properly. But for backing up, you've got the 3D camera view. So I think as long as you're using that, you shouldn't have any problems reversing out of any spots. So the steering and suspension in this car is pretty good as well. The steering is sharp. The car definitely goes where you want to point it, which I think is pretty good given the size of the wheels and tires in this car. I personally feel that the bigger the wheel you put on the car, you tend to dull the senses of the car as well. But it doesn't seem to be too much of an issue here. I haven't had any steering feel problems or anything like that. Suspension, I like it. It's not overly damped, it's not overly soft. It's kind of that Goldilocks in the middle. And I've got it in the sport dynamic setting. Firms up the suspension some, but it's pretty good. Like, honestly, I would prefer this to be like my standard suspension setting because I think the comfort is a bit too soft for me. But if you want to take it off road, it does raise up the suspension some. The suspension raises the vehicle up some, which is pretty nice. I mean, I'm definitely not going to be off-roading something like this, but if you want to, you can do it. So something I found interesting, there are paddle shifters on the back of the steering wheel. I don't know who that's for or why you would need it because it's an electric car. There's no transmission with gears and things like that. So I guess it's to mimic gears and things like that, but I don't know why you would want to even use that in a car like this. Okay, so the power delivery in this vehicle, it's pretty good. It's not as peppy as, say, the Tesla Model Y or even Model X, but I think that's because there's a big weight penalty that this car has over something like a Tesla Model Y. Now, don't get me wrong, it is a very fast vehicle. Audi says that this has an equivalent 402 horsepower, and that's when you're in the dynamic sport mode and your foot is in it and you're using the boost function as they call it. But it's, even without that additional boost mode, it's still pretty quick. I found myself going a lot faster than it feels. But that weight penalty of the it's almost a 6,000 pound SUV, it just doesn't feel as snappy as peppy. You know, when you hit the accelerator, it doesn't accelerate quite as fast as you would expect an electric car to accelerate. But other than that, you know, it's pretty nice. So final thoughts on the e-tron Sportback. You know, I think this is a really good entry from Audi into the EV market. And I know this is, the Sportback is basically the regular e-tron, just with a different shape to it on the outside, right? But I think this is a good option. You know, if you are looking for just which is the better car, and I'm just going to compare this to Tesla. If you're looking for the better car between the Tesla Model X or Y and the e-tron the better car, hands down. You know, it feels like a normal vehicle. It looks, the information is where you expect it to be in the car. You've got your data here in front of you. You've got some other stuff on a screen. Yeah, the drive setup is a little quirky and things like that, and you've got the full touch setup here. But as far as like a car, I think that the Audi is the better of the two. However, if you are talking about what's the better EV, hands down, it's the Tesla. The Tesla is the better electric vehicle. You know, if you're looking to spend your money where you're getting utility and function and that EV range, it's a Tesla any day of the week, because the Model Y and the e-tron Sportback, at least, very similar dimensions, and the Tesla is cheaper. You can get the Tesla not quite as nice as this, because I think Audi just offers a little extra in regard to luxury, but you can get pretty close in the Tesla with all-wheel drive, and you'll be cheaper than this vehicle is here. And then you've got that added weight penalty as well, where this car is like 1,300 pounds more than the Tesla. And I don't know how that's possible, because, you know, the Tesla has a full glass roof. This has a panoramic sunroof, but not nearly as much glass up top as the Tesla. So while Audi does have, you know, probably like 80 years more manufacturing experience than Tesla, Tesla started out as an EV manufacturer, right? Like, so the tech in the cars is better. The packaging of that tech is better. So, but if you were somebody who was willing to sacrifice a little bit of efficiency for a more normal feel when you get into the vehicle, I'd say go for the Audi. You know, just know you're going to spend a bit more money on the Audi than the Tesla, but you know, you get in this Audi, you get in any other new Audi, it's not going to feel foreign to you. So you get into a Tesla, and you know, there's a learning curve to it versus any other vehicle. So I think this is a good effort from Audi. I personally would get the Tesla because I'm willing to deal with the quirks of the Tesla and, you know, be happy. But again, you're not going to be unhappy if you buy the Audi. Just don't compare it with the Tesla. All right, so that's what I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like and subscribe if you like, and thanks for watching.